We are here with two representatives from Down Under, from Australia and New Zealand, who are in Thessaloniki for Cedefop's conference on the impact of globalization on vocational education and training. Melissa McEwen, you represent the Australian government, and Jane for Dadelszen, you are representing the Qualifications Authority of New Zealand. Yes. Ladies, the question for you both is, what are the global challenges facing VET, and why is it important to work with Europe?
From an Australian point of view, we see that there's a twofold challenge in globalisation, both of Australian companies going out into the world and looking for appropriate skills where they're in the new markets that they're operating in, but also the movement of people both to Australia and out of Australia, which means that you want to make sure that your skills and your qualifications are going to be recognised in different countries.
And for New Zealand, a quarter of the population of New Zealand was not born in New Zealand. So we have a very globally mobile population. We have hyperdiversity in some of our cities, and we are a trading nation predominantly. So we have multinational companies, international companies in New Zealand, and New Zealand companies outside of New Zealand, and we trade. Therefore, the mobile workforce with mobile qualifications is very important to us, and having our qualifications recognised internationally is important, and having international qualifications able to be recognised in New Zealand is important.
So what do you think Europe has to offer you, and what do you have to offer Europe?
I think Europe has a great deal to offer us in New Zealand. There is a very diverse range of approaches in Europe and different countries, and we're very impressed by the diversity and what there is there. And we have a heritage that is in common with Europe, and there's much that we can learn from the longer traditions in Europe. New Zealand has had a qualifications framework for 25 years and has a well-integrated system that's well respected within our country and industry. And so we have an opportunity to share some of that experience that we're also sharing with Asia and the Pacific, and we can make the links to Asia and the Pacific as well.
Yes, Europe has has been working together for a longer period to recognise skills and work across borders and understand how you work within a national system. This is terrific for us in Australia, where we're really growing our engagement with Asia, who have a they're very diverse systems, at very different levels of experience and development. And it's great to be able to bring the experience and learn from what has happened in Europe in Australia. Like New Zealand, we have a very long established qualifications framework. We also have a strong system of national qualifications, and some of those approaches we can demonstrate how that has worked successfully in Australia to Europe, and hopefully learn from each other.
What is the single biggest challenge do you think that vocational education and training is facing globally?
I think it's maintaining its relevance and maintaining its appeal. In all the countries that I have worked in over the past couple of years and worked with, I find the status of vocational education is a major challenge. Keeping people getting job relevant skills rather than going to university for bachelors that don't always take them into a job is a key thing that we need to all focus on. How do we maintain that interest in vocational education? How do we maintain a balance of people who have the skills that we need, as well as the different skills that sometimes they think are better for them? So for me, it's trying to maintain the interest and relevance. And I think internationalised qualifications and international mobility is one of the answers to making that more exciting.
Personally, I think the challenge is maintaining skill in a very rapidly changing world, and being able to adapt and upskill and bringing the population with us. I think there are many opportunities for upskilling in vocational education, but there are also many blind alleys, and it's very important that people can understand what is really relevant and acquire those skills efficiently and effectively, and that they are transferable globally. Those to me are the biggest challenges.
Lastly, your two countries are working together a lot. What kind of an example can you give to other areas, such as Europe, in working together?
One of the things that we've had for quite a long time now is the Trans-Tasman Mutual Recognition Act, which actually means that occupational licensing that occurs in New Zealand can be recognised in Australia. And what that's done is led our bodies who develop qualifications in Australia to work more closely with their New Zealand counterparts to make sure there is that relevance. And it's a really great example of how you can work together to practically enable mobility within a small region.
Yes. Another example is that we have recently just completed a full referencing of our frameworks, our qualifications frameworks against each other, and that's to be announced publicly very shortly. And we have very fluid workforces. Our populations move freely between the two countries to work, and therefore it's very important that their skills are easily recognised across the borders, and we've got a very well established system to do that.
This is an exercise that Europe is undertaking at the moment as well.
Yes.
With both our countries.
With us.